Mr. Chairman, my name is Jeff Johnson, and I am the senior pastor of First Baptist Church of Commerce, Texas, and I also am the president of the Baptist General Convention of Texas, which is a coalition of a little over 5,700 churches around the state of Texas. I am speaking for this bill, and I want to start my conversation much like Pastor Craddick did, to say that this is the first time I've spoken to this group. I spoke last session to this group because in a previous parish where I served, I was across the street from payday lenders who were loaning money to people who were at MHMR on their Social Security checks, and they had low IQs. And I brought affidavits from MHMR here and shared it with the committee. And in the last session, you guys passed as part of the bill that payday lenders could not do that. And I want you to know I really, really appreciate that. And that was a step in the right direction. I'm coming here today to hope that we go another step. I often tell my people at the church that we do church work like we eat an apple, a bite at a time. And so to me, this is another step, another bite. I was a financial analyst for some 12 years. My undergraduate work is in finance from Texas A&M University. I worked with a major firm and was a financial principal for that firm and was a bivocational pastor. Subsequently, did graduate work at a number of institutions, including Southwestern Seminary, Duke University, and postdoctoral work at Yale University. And I come from it from a perspective of being a university teacher, a financial analyst, a bivocational pastor, and now a senior pastor of a local church in East Texas. I had the opportunity to care for my older brother who had schizophrenia, but he had an IQ of 165. He died 2 years ago, and I had someone ask me in the church, "Do you think you're your brother's keeper or something?" And I said, "Not only am I my brother's keeper, I'm my brother's brother." And I feel that the reason that we have government, one of the reasons, is because there is an element of that in the fabric of humanity in our society, that we, in some way, shape, or form, are not only our brother's keeper, but we are related and we are our brother's brother. I have another saying in pastoral work: if you disagree with me, don't just disagree with me, come back with solutions. And I know we've heard many solutions here today, but one of the things that Representative Craddick said, and he used this word and I jotted it down, was the word common sense. And if I remember my history correctly, that was used by philosophers of old, but most, I guess, recently in United States history in about 1776 by Thomas Paine. And that was in reference to the United States, or what was going to be, being free from the bondage of an oppressor. In our church that were encouraging me as I left. And they said, "Preacher, it's about time that the people we elect have common sense." So I looked up the word common sense, and it said sound and prudent judgment based on simple perceptions of the facts or the situation. A reasonable solution is what we want. And we feel like this bill provides a reasonable solution. I know that the people in my area understand, and I know as a pastor, I understand this, that I actually want people to make money. Because if people don't make money, our institution as a church is probably going to go under, and we're not going to have money to be able to help people in a benevolent way. So we're for people making money. We are for that. But we also, common sense tells us that we're not for depleting the assets of those that are most vulnerable in our communities. So people often ask me, what do you do for a living? And I'll say, well, I put very complicated puzzles together for a living. But you know what? I think you guys put a more complicated puzzle together than me. You have the tools. You have the ability to be the arbiter. Representative Phillips asked, are you asking us to be the arbiter? And that's exactly what we've elected you to do, is help us do that and help us put together the puzzle so that we could actually have the tools so that our people can make better decisions. I close with a couple of things. I've been in commerce a little over a year, came from Del Rio, Texas. I was at First Baptist Church of Del Rio. And when I came, I went to a meeting that had Chamber of Commerce, Texas A&M Commerce, Paris Junior College, the Ministerial Alliance, all of us together, and it was called EPIC, End Poverty in Commerce. And all of these people were together, and I was invited to the meeting. And I listened, and I listened. It was at the First United Methodist Church there in Commerce. And after lots of discussion, I, being new, raised my hand, and I asked kind of a Dr. Phil question. How is it working for us, this end poverty thing? And there was a silence. Basically, the community had been working at it for a number of years, and nothing had happened. So I began to pull together some coalitions, talk to the university presidents, talk to the Chamber of Commerce folks, talk to the Ministerial Alliance, and we pulled together a group of people, representative of all of those, to do what is called a Bridges Out of Poverty initiative in commerce. And what we understood that people need they have immediate needs, but we as a coalition wanted to look at a long-term solution, not just meeting immediate needs. And so we have put together a coalition of people who are looking, and we've gotten money to get a consultant. We are raising money and have monies to do financial classes for people, taking small groups of people and helping them understand how to get out of even the generational cycle of poverty. But a piece of that puzzle is having access to funds when people need leverage. And we, as a community, would love to be able to say, well, you know what? Walk across the street and there's a great lending institution that won't check your credit record and everything else and can provide some of the needed resources you have. And we feel like if this bill is passed, that is the kind of thing we might be able to recommend. So we're asking you to help us be able to put that puzzle together for the betterment of our community. Another thing I've done, and I haven't heard it said in the state of Texas, but I've heard it talked about in scholarly circles and in other states. Recently visited the Bush School of Public Policy down at Texas A&M, and there was a presentation on L3C corporations. And I thought, what are L3C corporations? And I looked into it, and I do have a business background, and I understand a little bit about it, but they're low or limited profitability corporations. They're a hybrid corporation that provides an opportunity for an investor to invest And also, it goes along with the Internal Revenue codes and allows them to get a tax credit or a tax deduction for it as well. Now, I looked in Illinois, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, and Wyoming have all passed those things. Now, I don't know if that kind of thing is a solution or a piece of the puzzle for Texas, but I would ask you as representatives to think outside the box, to think creatively, and realize that it's one solution is probably not going to fill everybody's need. But there needs to be many options for us so that we can provide for our people the loans that they need. And I know they need them because there is a demand for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Mr. Chairman.
Questions?
Well, I just want for the record to know that this is one of my constituents.
Oh.
Yes, from Commerce, Texas.
Wonderful.
And we welcome you into the
you,
Capitol.
sir.
Thank you very much. I think her name was Karen Starks.
Oh, I know Karen very well.
I know you did. And
I know, and her husband Randy.
Yes.
Yes, she
Her son
plays.
Daniel.
She is a mean guitar player
Yes,
too.
yes. I knew that if we had enough time, we'd come up with it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Very
okay.
good. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you for coming.
Members, any more questions? Thank you for your testimony.